Welcome to Government Contracts Pricing Your Proposal. I am Varetta Huggins. I am fantabulous and I know you are too. Phoenix, we have great things in store for you today. Just wanted you to know that the federal government's open, your state government is open, and your local government is open. And they are doing business with small businesses. In today's presentation, I will go over a lot of information on how to become a government contractor. If you're already a government contractor, I'll provide information for you also. So thanks for attending, and we're about to get to the next slide on here. So a little bit about me. I have over 20 years of experience in government contracting. I received my Bachelor of Science degree in computer science at Hampton University. And right after that, I received my first job as a government contractor. I was working at NASA's Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, doing computer science work and programming analyst type work. Right after that, I moved up to NOAA's National Weather Service. I moved to the Washington, D.C. metro area, and that's where I'm still located now, and started working with NOAA's National Weather Service. Right after that, moved down to the Federal Aviation Administration in Washington, D.C. And again, all of this is doing government contracting work. I remember at FAA, one of the jobs that I had to start working with a team, and the requirement was that we had to create an RFP, a request for proposal. What that meant for us is my team and I had to create the requirements, the system requirements, the interface requirements, the business requirements. And we worked with contracting officers, corps, lawyers, and the program management office to be able to get this RFP out on the street. Why am I telling you this? Is because the RFP that government contractors respond to, I have worked on that on the inside, working with the federal government. So I understand the process, I understand what they're looking for. Right after that position, I moved back up to NOAA's National Weather Service. And while working there, the company I was working with was a small business, and I realized that the president of the company was working on site with us. And I was able to talk with him. It was during that time I decided, you know what? It's time for me to go and start my own company. If he can do it, I can do it too. And so I worked on my company. I called it V Project Management Consulting. Founded it in 2009 on my strength of IT project, program, and portfolio management. And it was during that time I realized I had to go and get my employee identification number. And then I started trying to find contracts. Realized that it would be best if I just get a subcontract. So I put my resume out on Career Builder. And whenever they contacted me, I would tell them I could only do a corp to corp. Finally found the perfect position working down at FAA again. And so once I received the subcontract, I realized I had to start figuring out all the things I needed to do to get my company up. So I needed to register my company with my state, needed to get business insurance, I needed to get a DUNS number. And right after that, I realized that I had to get my company registered as a government contractor. Now, at the time, this was called ccr.gov, is where we had to go. So went into that tool, and oh, I can tell you, there were all these forms you had to fill out, and there were FAR clauses and things I did not understand. And it took me 4 months. Why? Because every time I get to a new form, there were things I needed that I didn't have for my company, and I had to go back, go get that done, come back into the tool, complete it, go to the next form, realize I didn't have that other thing that they were asking for. So very complicated process, very tedious process. Would not recommend you having to go through that. But went through that, got my cage code, which is what you get to become a government contractor. And I was like, yes, I got it. I was so excited. Then reality hit me, and I was like, okay, how am I going to get these contracts? So I started going to all these small business SBA webinars, events, different things that we're having for small businesses, and started going to some agency stuff also. But what I found is at these webinars and events, they were telling you what you needed to do. No one was telling you how to do it. So I would come back to my office and I'm still trying to figure out how do I go do what they told me to do. And again, started just figuring things out on my own. It was while I was working on that subcontract that an opportunity came up to bid on a contracting vehicle. And we started working on that proposal. It was a technical proposal and then a price proposal. The price proposal was we had to come up with 76 labor categories and the rates for all these labor categories. It was very stressful. We got it done, we got it submitted on time. And about 6 to 7 months after, we got a notice that we had won the award. And shortly after that, we got our first prime contract. We were so excited. The thing about government contracting is if you are your business, you're the CEO, the chief everything officer today, with a new government contract, you can go from CEO to having to hire 5, 20 people in a matter of months. And that's how quickly your company can start increasing its revenue. And for us, we were happy when we started hiring people and just to meet the requirements of the contract. Well, 5 to 6 months after, the office we were working with, they started going through a reorg. And next thing we know, our contract got cut because of budget constraints, along with several other government contractors. And it was shortly after that we now have to go and lay off all these people that we had just hired. So it was a very stressful time for me. I remember we had to pack up from the office that we were in. I had to move my office back home. It was a really, really bad time for me. I remember didn't even wanting to get out of bed sometimes. Well, during that time, a friend of mine called me. We had worked together on a government contractor at the National Weather Service, and he was like, "Hey, Varetta, I just got a subcontract, but I don't have my company set up yet. I know you've already gotten yours set up. Can you help me with that?" I said, "Sure." Went, help him, got his DUNS number, help him, got his company registered as a government contractor. He got his cage code. Since then, he's made millions in government contracting. Well, shortly after that, he started sending all his friends to me. And I started helping different people just to get their business where they started becoming government contractors and getting government contracts. Um, I'm telling you this because it was around that time that I put my resume out there again, started getting subcontracts, started working with different federal agencies. But it was during that time I realized that systems win, but people fail. And I failed during that moment, and I needed to have a system in place to be able to help me to ensure I got government contracts and I was able to keep the government contracts going and get other government contracts while we were working on that. So I needed help. And at a small business expo just like this in 2017, I went, I attended it, I found a mentor, found a coach, and bought his program. And that's when he helped me to come up with different programs to be able to, and strategies to be able to move my company forward to put systems in place. One of the things that we talked about, he was like, "Hey, Varetta, do you know how many small business owners out there would love to do government contracting?" And it was during that time that our V-GovCon program started. And the program is basically how we're helping other small businesses become a government contractor. And then we're also helping government contractors um, to find the government contracting opportunities, and we're able to partner with them. So today I want to share with you 3 secrets why you should do business with the federal government. Again, 3 secrets why you should do business with the federal government. Secret number 1, there is money budgeted for federal government contractors. Did you hear me? I said there is money budgeted for government contractors. So there are 24 federal council agencies out there, and under each one of these agencies, they have different offices. And every year, they have to come up with their budget, and they have to come up with a budget for the next 3 years on how they're going to operate. And with this budget, they are trying to figure out all the projects and different things that they need to do to operate to meet their mission. Well, they need to hire contractors to be able to do that. So this came from usaspending.gov, and this is fiscal year 2019. Federal government spent over $6.9 trillion. I don't know for you, but I'm sure you're trying to figure out how many zeros in trillion. It's a lot. Okay? Now down here it shows over 900 billion of that, billion with a B, guys, went to contractual services and supplies. That is government contracting. So in fiscal year 2019, over $900 billion went to government contractors. Now I want to tell you that since I've been tracking this, the Department of Defense, they've been getting over 50% of that budget every year. Now that budget, when they figured it out, it has to go all the way up to the president. The president has to sign off on that budget, and he at times determine if he's going to reduce one of the agency's budget or increase it depending on his goals or vision for that year. So, but that's how the budgeting process goes. So I'm telling you, there's money right here that you're seeing for government contractors. Secret number 2, 23% of all that money that we just talked about is reserved for small businesses. Did you hear me? I said 23%. Now, if you do the math, 23% of over $900 billion is over $200 billion. Guys, we're still in the billions. That's how much money is reserved only for small businesses. So if you're a small business out there, that's the amount of money that's out there that's sitting there, and it's only small businesses can compete for that money. Now, what you need to know is there's a federal mandate for these agencies to meet these goals. So every year, all these 24 agencies, they have to provide a report to the Small Business Association saying that, hey, we've met this 23% goal, or we did not meet this 23% goal. Now, the other part of that is that 16% of that 23% have to go to small businesses that meet a certain socioeconomic condition. And that is our secret number 3. 16% of all budgeted federal contracting dollars is reserved for, we've got 5% here, it's reserved for women-owned small business. If you're a woman-owned small business, 5% of that. Think of it, 5% of over $900 billion is $46 billion. We're still in the billions. Now, if you're a small disadvantaged business, that means if you're economically and socially disadvantaged as a company, that amount is 5% also. Then you've got your veteran-owned small business, that's 3%. Hub zone, that's 3%. So again, all this money, it's based on whether your company can qualify for one of these socioeconomic status. I can tell you every year there are some agencies who are not meeting their hub zone goals, and that's your historically underutilized business zone. I had a partner of ours, they had an office space in a location, and then they realized the street across from where they were located was in a hub zone. Well, they decided to move the office to that other office space across the street from them, which was in a hub zone. Immediately, they got a call from a federal agency saying, "Hey, we're looking for a hub zone to meet our hub zone requirement. You guys are in an area that is a hub zone. You're the closest ones to us, so we're giving you this award." They got a call just because they were hub zone and just because that agency wanted to meet their goal, and they were awarded a contract. So wanted to tell you that story because socioeconomic targets matter for these agencies. They have to meet them. But for them to meet them, they need to find registered government contractors who have those socioeconomic status. Now, V-PMC, my company, we're 80, and we're also women-owned small business. So if you're a government contractor out there, you want to partner with us, we have a program that we're able to work with you, partner with you, and so that we can go after more government contracts together. So I just shared with you 3 secrets. Number one, over $500 billion every single year is budgeted for government contractors. Secret number two, 23% of that is reserved only for small businesses. And secret number three, 16% of that 23% is reserved only if your company is registered within one of those socioeconomic targets. Now, today I wanted to share with you 3 steps to pricing your proposal for government contracts. So if you're out there and you want to know, hey, Varetta, okay, this is all great, but how am I going to make some money from government contracting? So that's what I'm about to outline to you is how do you make money? How do you price your proposal to be able to make money, to get money from government contracting? So first, step number one, you have to be registered as a government contractor. I can't stress that enough. If you want to do business with the government, you have to be registered. Step number two, when you are registered, you go out, you find those subcontract or contract opportunities, because that's how you're going to get government contractors from those opportunities. Number three, you have to be able to prepare your price proposal. Now, normally you're preparing a technical and a price proposal. I'm not covering technical today because those are based on requirements, but I'm going to share with you the strategy that we use to be able to help you prepare your price proposal so you can get paid. So step number one, you have to register as a government contractor by getting a DUNS number. Your DUNS number is similar to how your Social Security number is for personal credit. Your DUNS number will be helping you with your business credit. And it's offered by Dun & Bradstreet, and it's dnb.com. I will tell you, and again, today this is good for today, but I know the government is working on a different type of numbering system. But as of today, they're using DUNS number. Now, what is it you're selling? What is it you're going to sell to the government? If you don't know that today, you need to figure that out. How do you figure that out? The government has what's called the NAICS codes, it's North American Industry Classification System, and that is how they classify every good, service, or product that you'll be able to sell to them. Now, it goes from 11 to 92, but these are your NAICS codes. Within this, you should be able to find any and everything that the government buys. Now, for us, it's 54 is our NAICS code, professional, scientific, and technical services. And then it goes up to a 6-digit number. So our primary NAICS code is 541611, which is administrative management and general management services. Now, for us, that's what we're selling. That's our primary NAICS code. That doesn't mean that you can't have other secondary, tertiary, all these other NAICS code. We have about 21 different NAICS code that we use. So you can have as many that you need to be able to tell the government, this is what we sell. Now, here's how this is useful. Once you get registered in several databases, federal agencies that are looking for government contractors to find and help them with a certain service or a product, they will go and look by NAICS code. So if you're already registered, you've got your NAICS code selected and everything, they'll be able to find you in some of these databases by that NAICS code. So this is a very important step that you cannot miss if you want to do government contracting. Now, you have to register as a government contractor by going into that database. I talked about it being ccr.gov when I did it. Here, we're talking about sam.gov. So again, this is the tedious part of what I talked about. If you have to do this, do not do this alone. Find a coach. Find somebody that you know that's done this before, but don't do it by yourself. There are things in there, FAR clauses. There are different information that you put in there. If you don't know what you're doing, you can trigger an IRS audit. You don't want that. The end result here will be a cage code. And with the cage code, you need to be able to enter your DUNS number, NAICS code, bank information, and business information. Now with the business information, that's where you are entering some tax information on your business, and they're collecting all this data. Now we do this with a boot camp that we have. So we have a boot camp, two days, 7 hours total, where we walk our customers through how to become a government contractor. And at the end of it, they're submitting their application to be registered as a government contractor. Our last boot camp was in July, and we had one of our members who attended, and I remember she was having problems with her name being accurate. So in IRS, and again, the system is validating with irs.gov, realized that there was an issue with the name under IRS versus the name she was entering. And that triggered an issue for her where she had to contact the IRS. So I'm telling you, don't do this by yourself. Find a coach, find someone who's done it so that they can help you, walk you through that process. Now here we've got step number 2, find your subcontract and contract opportunities. So I talked about putting my resume on Career Builder. Today we've got ZipRecruiter and Indeed. Whatever job site you use, put your resume out there. If you're just starting out, it depends on what you're doing. A lot of cases, government wants you to do subcontracting first so they know who you are. The reason I said I had to do corp to corp because my company's name had to be on those documents to say that my company had that contract. That's how you get past performance. Government needs to know you're doing past performance for them to give you a prime contract. So you have to start somewhere. Now the other tool is beta.sam.gov. You can go on there today, start searching, putting in different keywords, and find opportunities. Now, a lot of these agencies are now start pushing their information, their contracting opportunities here. So you'll start finding a lot more agencies are putting their information here. So you'll start finding a lot of different contract opportunities. Some agencies are still putting their stuff on their website. So it depends on which agency you're targeting. In our strategic session, one of the things that we do is we're gonna be able to, if you sign up with us for a strategic session, one of the things we're gonna help you with is we're gonna do this search for you. We're gonna send it to your inbox so you can get these directly in your inbox, in your email, instead of having to go search for them. But this is where you go and you find your contract opportunities. And it will be based on what you're searching for. Now the last part, and this is where we're going to spend a little more time on, is step number 3, preparing your price proposal. So this week I pulled this from an opportunity that I saw. I modified it a bit. But here, this is a price proposal. A lot of these agencies, they will send you a template for pricing. They're not going to let you go and create your own in a lot of cases. They want it to be consistent, so they want all vendors to be able to use the same template. So with this template, they're asking for offer's name, which is going to be the company's name, the RFP's request for proposal, CLIN. So think of a CLIN as that barcode for the product or service they're asking you for. So here I've got N95 mask, hand sanitizer, shoe covers, develop instruction by the hour. Notice the quantity and notice the issue. So when it's each, we're talking about a product. When it's hours, we're talking about labor, which means we have to hire somebody to do that work. So how do you come up with your unit price? How do you figure out what price am I going to charge the government for these items that they're asking me for? And that's what we're going to go into a little more detail on. So here is it's a standard way of how government is looking for you to be able to create that price proposal. And for them, they want to see the details. So in March, when government shut down a lot of their offices, and I think the whole of the US shut down because of COVID 19, the ending of March, I got a request from USAID. And they wanted to know, they sent me a whole long list, and I'm assuming they sent it to other government contractors too. But they wanted to know if we can provide these items to them. And it was N95 mask, hand sanitizer, shoe covers. There were lots of different PPEs that they were looking for. And we're talking about March when PPE was like a new thing for a lot of us, but there was also a lack of PPE in the United States. So I put the request out to my subscribers, and I did get one who had a distributor, international distributor, who could provide these N95 masks and different things that we were asking for. Now, his price to me was $3.19. Of course, he's going to get it cheaper than that, but he has to add his profit to it. So when you look at that, that was the direct cost. That was the cost of me doing business with him, and it was the direct cost for me. So if I had to buy these N95 masks from him, he's charging me $3.19 for each N95 mask. So when you're looking at product, it's what is the cost of you buying that product or that service. So down here, if we're looking at having to get a trainer to do this work for us, develop the training, the instruction, let's say we decide we're going to subcontract that work out. So now, whatever the subcontractor, whatever rate they're giving us, that's what we're looking at to add to our direct costs. So you always want to have a ceiling. A ceiling is, let's say their rate is $50 an hour. We're not gonna have the direct cost be just 50. We're gonna estimate that. So if theirs is 50, we don't know if we're gonna add, if we're gonna negotiate further down. So you want to just have a ceiling that's just a bit above that. Same thing with so if we're hiring technical writers to do this work, and we've got one who's a junior who's going to charge us $25 an hour, got a mid $30 an hour, a senior $35 an hour. We still want to have a ceiling just in case they're asking for a little bit more. And that's what your direct cost is. Now, fringe costs, we have 42% against, again, we've been doing this a while, so we already have calculations that we've come up over the years. For your company, your fringe costs might not be 42%. And notice fringe costs will only be for your employees. So you'll not have fringe costs for products that you're selling or for subcontractors. So our fringe cost is more on only the employees. So it's your social security, your benefits, all those different taxes and everything that you're paying for having that employee, that's covered in your fringe cost. If you're adding any other benefits to them, whether it's telework benefits, training benefits, all that other stuff, that gets calculated onto your fringe benefit. And so all we're doing is 42% of the direct cost, and that's what your fringe benefit is. So you're multiplying 42% by 40 in this case to get the 1680. Now, overhead costs, think of overhead costs as indirect costs. So direct cost is cost directly associated with having to do that work. So if you have technical writers, they're the ones doing the work, they're charging to direct cost. If you have someone in your back office, like an administrative assistant who's helping you, if they're helping you with payroll or timesheets, and it's related to you having that contract, that's called overhead cost. In terms of the N95 mask and all the other stuff we have here as products, if they're making the calls for you to be able to identify who those vendors are, doing the negotiations, submitting in, doing the work to do get all the legal paperwork done, then they're doing the overhead work, which is the overhead cost. So think of overhead costs, the money you're paying that person in your back office who's helping out with you getting that contract. Now we have that at 17%. Again, yours might be different depending on how you're doing that calculation. And just so you know, you need an accountant to help you with all this. So now you're multiplying 17% by your direct cost for me to get whatever's in this column. So now you're going to add up all three columns to get your subtotal. That subtotal, now you need to figure out your general and administrative costs. So what we call G&A, that's think of that as your back office, and it has nothing to do with the contract. So your back office, think of it as you, the CEO, or president of your company. You have to pay yourself. That's the G&A. But you also have to pay for the office space you have, the insurance you have, the phone you have, all your utilities, all of that will come out from your G&A costs. And that's how you're doing that calculation. So you're taking that subtotal, you're multiplying it by your 11%. Again, it's 11% for us. It might be different for you. And again, an accountant will have to help you come up with what that percentage is for G&A for you. But that's how we're calculating that. So you add these numbers together, you come up with your G&A subtotal. Then after that, you're figuring out what is your profit. Your profit should be 10% or less. And I say 10% on price proposals we've done 6% or less. We've gone down as low as 2.5%. And again, it depends on what you're working on and who the client is, and if you've got repeat work with that client already. Now, once you add that percentage, so again, 6% of your G&A subtotal, and now you're adding those two together to come up with your unit price. Unit price is the same thing as your fully burdened price or fully burdened rate. So once you have that, it's everything included in that unit price or a fully burdened price. You multiply it by your quantity amount to come up with your total price. And that's how you're doing your price proposal. So notice here, if you just charge them the direct cost, you're at 5.5 million here versus your total price with everything included, you're at the 7.7 total price. And again, it's including your profit in there and including all the stuff you have to do in your back office. So with government contracting, you have to consider all the other work that gets done just for you to even get the contract. And then after you get the contract to meet those requirements, you have to have people to support you to be able to do all that work and be successful in your government contracting. So again, this is how you prepare your proposal. Now, can you see yourself getting paid from this? Can you see yourself getting a profit out of this? Of course. And that's how and again, I did a mix of product and services because I know we have some on the call who might be doing products. Some might be doing services. Some might be doing both. Okay, and that's how you're getting that. So I just walked you through 3 steps to pricing your proposals. For government contracts, you have to register as a government contractor, you have to find your subcontract and contract opportunities, and you have to prepare your price proposal. Now today, if you are not a government contractor yet, and you want to become a government contractor, or you want to start working with us to be able to help you on your journey to become a government contractor, we have what's called a government contracting roadmap. And if you are just starting out with us, it doesn't even matter if you already have your company name or not, we can help you figure all that out. It's all part of our government contracting roadmap. If you're already a government contractor and you want to work with us, to partner with us. Think of it wherever you are in your government contracting journey. If you're already a government contractor, you're still trying to figure out how do you get these opportunities? How do you get ready to market to these government agencies? We have all of that mapped out in our government contracting roadmap. So we'll be able to work with you. So we're offering you a V-GovCon strategy session. It's 2 1-hour coaching sessions with us. And what we're doing is the first session is trying to identify where you are on that government contracting roadmap and what steps you need to take to get you to your next goal. And we'll walk you through that. Then we'll give you some homework, give you some access to our training materials, things you need to do. And then you go off, you get some of that stuff done. And again, we're helping you because you get access to us um, throughout that process. And then the next coaching session will be you've already completed some of those or all of those action items, and we're helping to identify and see where we need to get you to the next one. So, again, 2 coaching sessions with us. And I've never done this before. This is a $6,000 value, but we're offering it today and today only for $297. Again, just the opportunity to work with us for to be able to have these 2 coaching sessions, access to all of our training materials, access to us coaching, the government contracting roadmap. So if you're interested in this offer, you want to text GovCon, GOVCON, to 240-800-1779. Again, 240-800-1779. You're going to text GovCon. And again, this is 297. We're only doing this today, and we're on Eastern time with this. So the offer ends tonight at 11:59 p.m. Now, I just spoke with my publisher yesterday, and for you, we'll be able to offer you a bonus. So I'm going to throw in there that we're going to give you a free copy of my new government contracting book. And we'll also give you access to our book launch community. So again, this offer is only valued, we're only doing this today. It's valued at over $6,000, and we're offering it to you for $297. Only good for today. And that ends our presentation today. I hope you got some nuggets out of this that you can immediately go and implement. You can get to our membership site, learn.v-pmc.com, and register as a free member if you want to hear more about what we're doing and get free access to our site and to some of the things that we're doing. Thank you, and I'm going to turn it over now back to Jonathan. Thanks. And any questions I think that you have, you can start putting them in the chat. Any questions? I hope we have some small business owners out there who are interested in government contracting. So the chat is open. If you are a government contractor, let us know. If you are a woman-owned small business, let us know. You can put your company name and that you're a woman-owned small business. If you have a question for me, put it in the chat. I'll be glad to answer it within the time frame that I have. So Talia wants to know about putting your resume on Indeed. Let's say that the services that you provide, like my services was project management. So I use my resume just as it is. Don't even let them know I have a company, and just put it out there. And I get calls, hey, Varetta, we've got this project manager position here, got this over there. And I would respond to them. Now, if they're interested in me, they're asking for my resume. It's during that time I let them know, hey, I can only do this as a corp to corp. Can you do corp to corp on this? And some cases they said, no, we'll check, we'll get back to you. When they come back, if they say no, they only want you as a W-2, you're not interested in the position. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the offer for somebody. But if they are interested in working, in having you, then yes, if they can do a corp to corp, it's basically you getting a 1099 instead of a W-2 because you need past performance to do government contracting. So when you sign that agreement, the 1099 agreement, it needs to be in your company's name. They need to pay you to directly to your company's bank account. So I hope that helped you, Talia. So I put the offer back out there again. Again, if you're out there, you've got a company, you're woman owned, you're veteran owned, just let us know in the chat. If you have any questions for me, put it in the chat. For consultants with the government, yes, it depends on what type of consulting you do. But consultants are the number one job that the federal government have. When I show up, I'm a consultant, but I'm a consultant in anything from IT, project management, program management. I do IT governance, so it depends on what you're a consultant in. Veteran owned, Bridget, I see that. Awesome. Woman owned. So 51% veteran owned. There are lots of government contracts that are awarded directly to veteran owned small businesses. Somehow they get a preference over everybody else. So, yeah, if you're veteran owned, make sure that you are qualified for VOSB and you can apply for that. And again, that's something that we can help you through if you sign up for a strategy session. So, Sojourner, how long does it take to receive payments from the government when you're awarded a contract? When for us, so let's say today is October 2nd. So let's say we submit an invoice today. If we are doing business directly with the government, we submit our invoice today, and the invoice covers the whole month of September. Now, as a small business, they've got this thing called a Prompt Act where you can get paid between 15 to 30 days after you submit that invoice because you're a small business. So again, all that has to be worked out when you're negotiating your contract, just to make sure. But most of the contracting officers that we work with, they know what the Prompt Act is and they make sure they get us paid within 15 to 30 days. What proof do you need that you're a woman or minority or veteran owned? Veteran owned, you need that letter from VA saying that you were discharged honorably. Woman and minority. So with the woman, you just need your ID showing that you're a woman. Minority, similar, your ID that shows that you are from one of the minority groups. So it's really, and there's different forms that you have to fill out. So I'm giving you the main thing that you need, but you have to show that you are 51% owner of that company if you're a woman or minority or veteran owned. Which certification, Talia, which certification do you see benefiting you the most? Definitely woman owned has benefited us the most. There's this thing called if you qualify for economically disadvantaged woman owned, which means you're making less than $750,000 a year. There's a thing called the power of two, where if you know you see a contract out there that you want to bid on, and it's under EDWSB, you can find another company and again partner with us that is willing to bid on it with you. And let's say you bid on it, we bid on it, you got all the requirements, checked all the boxes and everything. You only need two EDWSB woman-owned small business to apply, and they're gonna have to give it to one of them. So the WSB, I see that being have the highest value if you qualify as a woman-owned small business. So sounds like my time is up. Jonathan's letting me know again. Thank you all for joining us today. And again, if you want to do business with me and my staff, text GovCon to 240-800-1779 and start signing up with us and we'll be able to work with you. The other thing is you can go to our learn.v-pmc.com website and sign up as a free member to be included as one of our subscribers. Thank you all, and again, thank you so much for joining us today, and hope to see you or hear from you in the future. Thank you. Thanks, Jonathan, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for that informative presentation. We really enjoyed it. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded and will be available on demand within 24 hours on smallbusinessuniversity.online. Again, I want to extend a very special thank you to our sponsor, AT&T Business. Please remember to frequently check out our webinar schedule on smallbusinessuniversity.online for other great weekly business building webinars. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.